The appointed hour of 6 o'clock having arrived, the board will come to order. Invocation by Mr. Hall, Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Miller.
For those of you who know me, you know that I really enjoy poetry. When I was a child in fifth grade, I had a wonderful teacher who was our principal and our sister, Marilyn. Anyway, and she called me inside the office one time and said, "I noticed you do not stutter or stammer when you sing. How about poetry?" And I love poetry. So tonight I'm going to say a poem. It is titled "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blame it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make traps for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop down and build up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at the beginning and never breathe a word of your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your term long after you're gone, and so hold on to when they are nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings and nor lose your common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that is in it, and which it is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you very much.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll.
Canman. Constant. Dafsco. Diener. Del Giorno. Deppie. Douglas Williams. Forsyth. Frazee. Fulgenzi.
Excused.
Guyton.
Here.
Hall.
Yes.
Krell.
Excused.
Lathan. Madonia. McGuire. Mendenhall.
Here.
Miller. Bader.
Here.
Scaife. Shackman. Shepard. Small. Stumpf. Shumlin.
Excused.
Truax.
Excused.
Chairman's present. 23 present, 4 absent.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Now, we have one of the happiest occasions on the county board. We get to elect a new member of the county board, and I am pleased to put before you a college graduate and a entrepreneur working with an exciting company here in our community, Ms. Sheila Feipel, as our new county board member. That is my nomination for the board seat to be replaced by replacing Mr. Ayers. All in favor of my nomination signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's unanimous. Ms. Sheila, if you'd proceed to the well of the chamber, and I understand you have Judge Frioli here tonight to swear you in. And our clerk is standing by with some paperwork, I think.
We have already ironed out 2 of them.
Okay, all right. And our board members, some of our board members will take some pictures too, I think.
generally making Sangamon County a more attractive, safer place to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One more moment. We gotta get you to sign the paperwork.
Oh,
Yes. We gotta make you official with signatures.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Keep on, congratulations, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, now we get to work.
All right.
now
Thank you.
you got to get down to work, Sheila.
All right.
Okay. Proceeding in the regular order, we have the sheriff for an extraordinary presentation. Sheriff Crouch.
Good evening, and thank you for everyone for being here tonight. If I could ask my court security officers to come up to the front here. Have Officer Alec Viteva, Officer Aubrey Kirkman, Officer Nate Hedrick, and Officer Enrique Ayala. Was I close, Enrique? Okay, thank you. I even have little, sounds like on my thing here, but. On April 9th at approximately 10:20 a.m., Court Security Officer Nate Hedrick was providing security in a courtroom on the 6th floor of the county building when he was notified by bystanders about a female who'd fallen by the elevators on the 6th floor. Officer Hedrick responded to the area and found Ms. Sharon James on the floor being attended by civilian Jeffrey Bone. Is Jeffrey here tonight? Did he make it, by the way? If you did, Jeffrey, will you come up here, please, too? I'm sorry. Miss James was short of breath, not very coherent, and could not sit up by herself. Officer Hedrick radioed for EMS to be started to the location of the county building. Court security officers Alec Viteva, Aubrey Kirkman, and Enrique Ayala and Sergeant Ryan Kelly all heard the call and arrived to see if they could provide assistance. It was at this point that Miss James lost consciousness. The officers, with the assistance of Mr. Bone, immediately took action. Officer Kirkman went to the first floor for the AED, while others in the group assessed Miss James' vitals. Unable to locate a pulse, CPR was initiated and the AED was applied. The officers and Mr. Bone performed CPR and used the AED until medical staff arrived and took over for Mrs. James, and she was transported to the hospital. I'm very happy to say that the quick action by Mr. Jeffrey Bone, Court Security Officers Nate Hedrick, Alex Viteva, Aubrey Kirkman, and Enrique Ayala resulted in Miss James' recovery. Tonight, I'm honored to be able to show my appreciation and gratitude to these 5 individuals by presenting them with the Certificate of Excellence for the actions that they took and the compassion that they showed on April 9th with Mrs. James. And I will say we did go out and visit with Mrs. James at her home recently. She expressed her sincere gratitude to those that assisted her in receiving medical treatment that day. And she had hoped to be here tonight, but I did not see her, so I think she didn't make it. But again, thank you to our individuals here. great job every day.
Sheriff, will you use the mic so they can hear you if they're listening at home?
These individuals do a great job every single day keeping our courthouse secure and safe, and I appreciate them. I know we don't tell them enough. They have large crowds and all walks of life, and I get more compliments from my court security officers than anyone else, and I really appreciate their everyday job.
If you stay up any longer, one of you will have to give a speech. Okay, proceeding in the regular order, minutes of the May 12th, 2026 meeting. Motion by Mr. Del Giorno, seconded by Mr. Madonia for the approval of the minutes of the May 12th, 2026 meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Correspondence, motion by Mr. Madonia, seconded by Mr. Del Giorno. Place correspondence on file with the clerk. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Correspondence to be placed on file with the clerk. Resolutions. Resolution number 1, Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 1, resolution approving the fiscal year 2026 county highway motor fuel tax material contracts.
Motion by Mr. Frazee, seconded by Ms. Lathan to place Resolution 1 before the board. Questions, comments from members of the board on Resolution 1? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Canman. Yes. Constant. Yes. Dafsco. Yes. Diener. Yes. Del Giorno. Aye. Depi. Aye. Douglas Williams. Aye. Feifel. Yes. Forsyth. Yes. Frazee. Aye. Guyton.
Aye.
Hall.
Yes.
Lathan. Yes. Madonia.
Aye.
McGuire. Aye. Mendenhall.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Rader.
Aye.
Scaife. Scheckman. Shepherd. Small. Stump. All 23 approve.
All those voting having voted in the affirmative, Resolution 1 is adopted. Resolution 2, Mr. Clerk.
Number 2, resolution approving the fiscal year 26 township bituminous material motor fuel tax contracts.
Motion by Mr. Frazee, seconded by Mr. Miller to place Resolution 2 before the board. Questions, comments from members of the board on Resolution 2? Mr. Del Giorno.
Mr. Chairman, I move to consolidate 3 and 4 in with 2.
Seconded by Mr. Madonia. Mr. Clerk, will you please read Resolutions 3 and 4?
Number 3, resolution approving an engineering contract with Martin Engineering Company for a hydraulic study to be performed on CH 45 Loami Bates Road in the amount of $62,870. Number 4, resolution approving a letter of understanding with the Illinois Department of Transportation for job number C-96-502-97 involving jurisdiction of a future Bradfordton Road extension.
On the motion to consolidate, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion consolidates agreed to. Questions or comments from members of the board on the resolutions as consolidated? Seeing none, Mr. Madonia, you have a motion.
I move that the roll call vote for Resolution 1 stand for the roll call vote of Resolutions 2 through 4 is consolidated.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolutions 2 through 4 as consolidated or adopted. Resolution
Chairman.
5, Mr. Clerk.
Chairman, I need to be shown as
Mr.
present on
Scheckman.
number. I need to be shown as present on number 4.
On number
4.
4. Very good.
Record will reflect.
Record so reflect. Resolution 5, Mr. Clerk.
Number 5, 2026-6, Whisper Walk LLC Drive, 1300 to 1500 block of Lenhart Road, Springfield, granting a siting approval permit.
Motion by Ms. Scaife, seconded by Mr. Forsythe to place Resolution 5 before the board. We're now entering the zoning portion of the meeting, and it's our policy to ask if there are members of the audience who wish to speak in opposition to the proposed zoning. In opposition to the proposed zoning. Very good. If you'd proceed to the well of the chamber over here, everyone who wants to speak in opposition, proceed here. And if the proponents would proceed to this side, and as they do that, our crack professional staff will give the procedural history of the case.
The petition requests pursuant to Chapter 1737, a commercial solar energy conversion facility siting approval permit.
The Planning Commission staff has recommended approval. Staff reviewed the materials submitted by the applicant and determined that the proposal complies with Sangamon County's commercial solar energy conversion facility siting approval permit regulations.
And the Zoning Board of Appeals concurred with staff recommendations.
Very good. I just want to make sure, you're the only opponent of you're only the person speaking in opposition? There's
As
no one
far
else
as
in
I
the audience
know,
who wishes to speak in opposition to the zoning? Okay, very good. That makes it easier to divide the time, so I just want to be sure. I'd been told might be some others. Okay, so by our rules, each side, proponents will have 2 minutes for a presentation, and then opponents will have 2 minutes for a presentation, and 1 minute's rebuttal, and 1 minute's rebuttal. So we'll start with the proponents.
Great.
If you state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. My name is Brendan Urban. My home address is 19001 Scott Road, Mount Vernon, Ohio.
2 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. I am Brendan Urban with Summit Ridge Energy here on behalf of Whisper Walk Drive LLC, a project company wholly owned by Summit Ridge Energy, which is the largest commercial solar developer and owner-operator in the state of Illinois. We are the long-term owners, meaning the projects will not change hands. Our intention is to become part of the communities that host our projects. We have dozens in the state, overall about 700 megawatts operating. The Whisper Walk Solar Project meets every requirement of Chapter 17.37 of the County Code and also the applicable state laws. It comes to you with favorable recommendations from the Planning Commission staff and the approval of the ZBA on May 21st. From the start, I've engaged with this community directly through mailings, phone calls, emails, town halls, even providing coordinates of some of our other projects that community members can go visit just to see, what they look like. Obviously, there's been some feedback, and we've listened. I do have some updated site plans based on some feedback from the community and some of the changes that were discussed under sworn testimony during the ZBA hearing. I do have copies of these updated site plans if the board members would like a copy. Essentially, the big difference is, we've moved the facility about 200 feet off of Lenhart Road to get it further away from some of those homes. We've also added screening along the south side at the request of some neighbors.
You have 10 seconds.
We've worked hard to do what's best for this area, and I respectfully request your approval. Obviously open to any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. And we apologize, we realize you can't see the clock. We'll fix that right now, but we understand you can't see the clock. How many copies of your,
I've got 29.
why don't you split them and the board members can, the clerk will take care, that's great. Okay, and so questions or comments for the proponents, for members of the board? Mr. Kamen.
This solar farm, is it close to a trunk line of an electric utility? And if so, which utility is it?
Yeah, so this is going to interconnect to Ameren's distribution grid. There's existing infrastructure underground on the east side of Lenhart Road. We're going to run a 3-phase line in parallel underground to that existing single-phase line. It'll cross Lenhart Road and then come above ground there to interconnect the facility.
And is it correct? That's one of the reasons you chose this site was because of its close proximity to that trunk line of Ameren?
That's correct. So, the siting decisions are infrastructure-based, as well as it has to be within Ameren's service territory, which this parcel is.
All right, thank you.
Other questions or comments for the proponents? Mr. Mendenhall.
Who is the owner of the property?
It is owned by Standard Investment Company, which is owned by Mark Roberts, who lives here in Springfield.
Okay, he doesn't live on the property.
He does not. The family's owned it for decades and has just farmed it.
Okay, how come he's not here to answer any questions and testify tonight?
He's actually out of the country right now, so he can't be here. But I know that he's communicated directly with Kathy at times, but he's just not here tonight.
Any other questions or comments for the proponents? Seeing none, thank you. Stay there. We'll be back to you. And sir, you have 2 minutes. If you'd state your name and address for the record first. Oh. Go ahead and state your name. And
my name is George Hinton. I live at 8 Ted Lane.
in a little subdivision called Jade Gardens. My property is adjacent, immediately adjacent. We will share a property line of approximately 200 feet. I am opposed to this project. When the residents of the area first heard that this was proposed, the immediate reaction, and I think all of you can understand this and agree with it, we were concerned about the impact on our property value. And it's like you go to sell your home and, oh my God, there's this solar facility there, and it's all rural farmland except for little 30 homes around there. So I did some research online to see what the statistics showed and studies showed about the impact on property values. I looked at one that was highly recommended. It was Virginia Tech, and the other highly recommended study was the Berkeley study. And then I was directed to the National Academy of Science prospectus, which had taken all of these studies and put together some basic findings. And they said the most pronounced finding running through all of the studies was that the greatest adverse negative impact on property values were on areas that are rural, low density, and they're zoned agriculture. And I thought, bing, bang, bang. Our area hits all three. We're zoned agricultural, we're low density, and we're rural. So we are facing what statistics show is the greatest adverse impact.
I'm sorry, that's
property
time.
value.
That's time, Mr. Henson. That's time. Questions or comments from members of the board for the opponents? Any questions or comments for the opponents? Mr. Kamen?
We've approved solar farms in the past.
Mr.
I
Kamen, can
remember-
you get a little closer to your microphone?
Yeah, we've approved solar farms in the past. I remember, I think it was last year, we rejected it, and then no, it was maybe 2 years ago, we reversed ourselves and approved the solar farm. Do we have any evidence that the property values next to any existing solar farms in Sangamon County have
Is that a question for
declined?
professional staff?
Well, for professional staff or for the opponent, both.
Well, professional staff, can you respond to that?
We are unaware of any negative impacts to surrounding sites. However, we have not done any studies with the current solar projects we have in Sangamon, Illinois, so I don't have any information for that.
Are you saying that solar farms that we've approved in Sangamon County in the past, that you have zero information as to whether that's had any impact on property values?
That's correct.
Any other questions for the opponents or comments from members of the board? Ms. Scaife?
I don't have a question, Chairman, but I will say, Sam, all these people, there were a lot more that came to the other meeting, and there's a lot of them back here that aren't going to speak because Mr. George spoke, Mr. Hinton, but they all got their tax bills and they didn't go down. And, you know, everybody knows their tax bill's never going to go down. So, and they've been there a lot longer than the property owner. That's what I have to say. And I'd appreciate a no vote.
Any other questions or comments for the opponents? Seeing none, Mr. Henson, we'll come back to you. Sir, you have 1 minute, 1 minute's further rebuttal for further comments.
Yeah, I guess I'll just start. I appreciate George's comments. George and I have talked, a lot from a town hall, also over email, and I think we share a respect for each other. With the studies on property values, I also have studies that say there is no effect, and I think that is a problem. The studies, you can find a study that points the direction that you want it to. But what I can say about this project is that we are making every effort to make sure that it fits in with the community and does not have a negative effect. You'll see on the site plan, we are planting screening along all edges where the houses are. That's both an aesthetic concern, but also to be a good neighbor and prevent property values from dropping. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for the proponents, Ms. Mendenhall.
Have you driven around Sangamon County and looked for other locations that doesn't take prime agricultural land out of production?
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got a lot of projects. And really, I mean, what it comes down to and the reason we cite where we cite it is where the infrastructure is, where the power lines can handle it, where the substations can handle it, and also, I mean, where do we have a willing landowner to execute a lease agreement for this? And so, unfortunately, that's what puts us where we are now, where we found a viable piece of land and why we've pursued a project here.
So you haven't been to the east side of Sangamon County and north up towards the Logan County line?
Yeah, we have. We've got some projects in development on the east side.
Okay, so there's a power line there. There's 7 terminals, and there's about 4,200 acres of land that's not prime agricultural farmland that lays within the old munitions plant.
Mhm.
Why aren't we building it there?
I'd have to look at the exact area. I mean, there's a lot of factors why it could or could not work. Perhaps the power lines can't handle it, the substation can't handle it, and this part of Illinois is unique in that the co-op territories intertwine a lot with Ameren electric service territory, and we have to be fully in Ameren service territory. Again, I'm not 100% certain that that's the case with the land that you're mentioning, but it is a little more complex than just finding any piece of land and putting a project there.
Well, if, and I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
So if you're getting ready to build a solar project and on 23 acres, there's got to be 100 other locations in Sangamon County that will fit all of your needs that doesn't take prime land out of production and is not anywhere close to other residences. And I don't understand why. And not only you, other companies. And every time I ask this question, they always say, well, those landowners haven't called us. So basically, it looks like you guys don't get out and go take a look. You just wait for someone to call you and go, yep, that'll work.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the proponents? Seeing none, thank you. You can sit down if you want or stay there, you're fine. And Mr. Henson, you have 1 minute's rebuttal.
I would just submit to all of the county board members that if you would look at the golden rule that says do unto others, if you don't want this facility next door to you, in your front yard or your backyard or in your neighborhood, then please don't do it to us. Just say no. We'd appreciate that. Could I add a comment about
You can
Mr.
say
Urban?
anything you want.
He was very helpful, and he was very
Speak into the
easy
microphone.
to work with. And he had told us about a facility over by Jacksonville and Murrayville, and we expressed interest in going there. And so we did. I went with 3 other people from the community, and it's on about 15 acres. And we were disappointed because it's an ugly eyesore site. It has weeds growing up all around it. We waded through the weeds to get up to the front gate. They were knee-high.
That's time, Mr. Henson.
Okay.
That's time. Okay. Any questions for the proponents? Opponents, I'm sorry. Any further questions for the opponents? Seeing none. Okay, you may both sit down. Any further debate on this resolution? Mr. Cameron.
Question for legal counsel. What is the law if we would deny this zoning request? Would we be open ourselves up to a lawsuit where the zoning petitioner could sue us and likely win in court?
The zoning petitioner could definitely sue the county if it's denied.
I'm sorry, could you say that
The
again?
answer is yes.
I mean, would the likelihood be that we would lose if we denied this and were sued?
Careful. Careful.
That's a hard, understand, that's a hard question for him to answer because he's supposed to represent us and we're always supposed to win.
Yes.
Right, I understand.
But
I mean, there's been a recent appellate court
the
case. that had some-
proponent would have a good case if, in fact, all the requirements of applicable law were met and we denied it.
Chairman?
Mr. Cameron, you have the floor. It's-
In your opinion, have they been met?
I haven't looked at it personally, but I know that professional staff and the ZBA have determined that all the requirements have been met.
Thank you.
Mr. Hall. Mr. Hall, please use your microphone.
I'm sorry. In the spirit of just I'm asking questions like Mr. Cameron did, then would the homeowners also be eligible to sue the county for us harming the value of their homes or harming the value of their quality of their lives? And I know I don't want you to answer that because that's a weird question to start with. But I mean, really, if you want to ask the question, however, I guess as a board member, I would rather side on the side of the people who live in Sangamon County over a developer out of our community. So I guess I'm making more of a statement than question. But yeah.
Is that a statement, or did you want to ask?
It was a statement because the question was kind of a odd question. So I thought, well, I would just throw out another odd question at you. Could the homeowners sue the county for us allowing something that's going to harm the value of their quality of life or the quality of their homes or their value of their homes?
In my opinion, they could sue the county, but they would be unsuccessful.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from members of the board on the resolution? Seeing none, the question occurs on the resolution to grant citing and an approval permit. Those who want to grant the citing and approval permit will vote yes. Those who are opposed will vote no. The clerk will call the roll.
Canman. Constant. Dasco. Diener. Del Giorno. Depi. Douglas Williams. Feifel. Forsyth. Frazee. Guyton.
No.
Hall.
No.
Lathan. Madonia. McGuire. Mendenhall.
No.
Miller. Rader. Scaife. Shackman. Shepherd.
No.
Small. Stump. All right. I have 8 yes, 15 no.
The resolution is defeated. Resolution 6. Mr. Clerk, please read the resolution 6.
Number 6, 2026-9, Joel Johnson, 1300 to 1400 block of Hornden Road, Mechanicsburg, granting a rezoning and variances.
Motion by Mr. Mendenhall, seconded by Mr. McGuire to please place resolution 6 before the board. We're in the zoning portion of our meeting, and it's our policy to ask if there are members of the audience who wish to speak in opposition to resolution 6. Seeing none, are there members of the audience who feel it's necessary to speak in support of resolution 6? Seeing none, Mr. Mendenhall, do you have a motion for us?
Since we have no opposition, I move we waive the staff report.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered. Questions or comments from members of the board on resolution 6? Seeing none, on the question, all those in favor of adopting resolution 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolution 6 is adopted. Resolution 7, Mr. Clerk.
Number 7, 2026-10, Spencer and Taliso Pulliam, 4133 Old Jacksonville Road, Springfield, granting a rezoning and variances.
Motion by Mr. Forsyth, second by Mr. Mendenhall to place resolution 7 before the board. Are there members of the audience who wish to speak in opposition to resolution 7? Are there members of the audience who feel it's necessary to speak in support of resolution 7? Seeing none, Mr. Mendenhall, you have a motion?
Since we have no objectors, I move we waive the staff report.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered. Questions, comments from members of the board on resolution 7? Seeing none, on the question, all those in favor of adopting resolution 7 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolution 7 is adopted. I just want to ask, are the Pulliam Pulliam's in the audience tonight? I see. Do you know, are they related to the county's first settler? They are? Mr. Hall says they are. Yeah. Mr. Hall says they are. That very interesting piece of history. The county's first settler was probably a horse rustler who came up to Sangamon County to get away from some people who were chasing him. So we're happy to help them, his descendants this evening. All right, Resolution 8. Mr. Clerk, will you please read Resolution 8?
Number 8, 2020-612, MR Lawn Care and More Incorporated, 3750 and 3754 East Cook Street, Springfield, granting a conditional permitted use with conditions and a variance.
Motion by Mr. Madonia, seconded by Mr. Mendenhall to place Resolution 8 before the board. Are there members of the audience who wish to speak in opposition to Resolution 8? Seeing none, are there members of the audience who feel it's necessary to speak in support of Resolution 8? Do you wish to speak? Okay, very good. Mr. Mendenhall, do you have a motion?
Since we have no opposition, I move we waive the staff report.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered. Questions or comments from members of the board on Resolution 8? Seeing none on the question, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 8 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolution 8 is adopted. Resolution 9, Mr. Clerk.
Number 9, resolution amending the Sangamon County Fixed Asset Policy.
Motion by Mr. Stump, seconded by Mr. Del Giorno to place Resolution 9 before the board. Mr. Del Giorno.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we consolidate 10 through 15 in with 9.
Second by Mr. Madonia. Mr. Clerk, will you please read Resolutions 10 through 15?
My pleasure. Number 10, resolution establishing a policy for the acceptance of cash donations by Sangamon County. Number 11, resolution approving a grant application for the Child Advocacy Department from Children's Advocacy Center of Illinois for the DCFS program in the amount of $305,002.68. Number 12, resolution approving a grant application for the Child Advocacy Department, CASA, from Illinois CASA, for the DCFS program in the amount of $146,739.40. Number 13, resolution approving a grant application for the Child Advocacy Department from Children's Advocacy Center of Illinois for the VOCA program in the amount of $233,413.16. Number 14, resolution approving a grant application for the Land of Lincoln Workforce Alliance from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the fiscal year 26 WIOA Formula Grant Program in the amount of $2,595,092. Number 15, resolution approving a grant application for the Land of Lincoln Workforce Alliance from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the fiscal year 26-27 Apprenticeship Specialist Grant Program in the amount of $136,552.
On the motion to consolidate, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion consolidates agreed to. Questions or comments from members of the board on the resolutions as consolidated?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cammon.
On resolution number 9, I've asked in the past that when we have resolutions amending current ordinances or policies, that new language be underlined so we can see what the difference is. And Mr. Goldman, or Auditor Goldman, or whoever drafted this did put the new language in underlined in bold, and I appreciate that, and I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
We're learning.
Yeah.
Further questions or comments from members of the board on resolutions 9 through 15 as consolidated? Seeing none, Mr. Madonia, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I move that the roll call vote for Resolution 1 stand for the roll call vote of Resolutions 9 through 15 as consolidated.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Resolutions 9 through 15 are adopted. Motion by Mr. Madonia, seconded by Mr. Del Giorno for the waiver of the 10-day filing period. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. 10-day filing period is waived. Resolution 16, Mr. Clerk.
16, resolution approving the procurement of goods and or services for buildings and grounds from Wiley Interiors for the purpose of the State's Attorney's Office remodel. Furniture in the amount of $670,117.33.
Motion by Ms. Deppie, second by Mr. Dabsco to place Resolution 16 before the board. Mr. Del Giorno.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we consolidate 17 through 23 with 16.
Second by Mr. Madonia. Mr. Clerk, please read Resolutions 17 through 23.
17, resolution granting an easement to Amron, Illinois for the installation of gas service to the hub. 18, resolution approving the procurement of goods and or services for buildings and grounds from Illinois companies for the purpose of remodel work in the Public Defender's Office in the amount of $49,398. 19, resolution approving a grant application for public health from Start Early, a contractor to DHS Healthy Families Division, for the Start Early program in the amount of $623,322. 20, resolution approving a grant application for public health from Illinois Department of Public Health for the Illinois Breast and Cervical Cancer Program in the amount of $279,625. 21, resolution approving a grant application for Sangamon Menard Area Regional Transit, SMART, from the Illinois Department of Transportation for the Downstate Operating Assistance Program, DOAP, in the amount of $989,850. 22, resolution approving a grant application for Sangamon Menard Area Regional Transit, SMART, from Illinois Department of Transportation for the 5311 Program Grant in the amount of $152,586. And finally, 23, resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Springfield and Sangamon County, Illinois, regarding proactive crimes unit assignments, training opportunities, and mutual aid.
On the motions to consolidate, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion consolidates agreed to. Questions or comments from members of the board on the resolutions as consolidated? Mr. Camden.
And 23 to the sheriff, is this to replace an intergovernmental agreement that your office has had with the Springfield Police Department in the past, or is this something completely new?
So we have had agreements with Springfield Police in the past, specifically involving mutual aid. What we've added to this one is we will be assigning a deputy to work with Springfield's proactive crime unit. As you may or may not be aware, in the last couple of years, our DIRT team, we have had to take the deputies assigned to the DIRT team that investigated most of our drug complaints and put them back in patrol because of our shortages. So by teaming one deputy up with the Springfield's proactive crime unit, we will get the benefits of having that, basically that DIRT team back, if you will.
So a member of the county, of your department, will be part of this SPD's DIRT team? Is that what you're saying?
Their proactive crime team, yes.
DIRT, what is can you explain what the DIRT team is?
The DIRT team are plainclothes officers, deputies, detectives that investigate drug-related offenses.
And then this also has a provision about that your office is going to be able to use the training facility of the Springfield Police Department?
Correct. We will be conducting our in-service training in conjunction with Springfield Police's in-service training, so they'll training side by side, and then we'll use their shooting range for our qualifications and things of that nature.
Is that something new?
We have always paid them a fee to use their range to qualify our deputies, but us attending the same training with them is a new concept that we've just started this year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from members of the board on the resolutions as consolidated? Seeing none, Mr. Madoni, do you have a motion?
Yes, I move at the roll call vote for Resolution 1, stand for the roll call vote of Resolution 16 through 23 as consolidated.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Well, wait a minute. The resolutions as consolidated are adopted. You want to be shown as voting? Mr. Kamen, you're recognized. Mr. Kamen, I don't think your microphone's on. Mr. Kamen, I don't think your microphone's on.
I prematurely asked to be recognized. We haven't taken the vote yet on, you're saying we just voted to consolidate?
We just did, yeah. Now
Okay.
you're fine.
Well, okay, then I would like to be, I'll vote yes on all the other resolutions, but I'd like to be recorded as no on 16.
No on resolution 16.
So recorded.
16, right?
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay, very good. Proceeding then in the regular order. Old business, the chair swear of no old business, new business, appointments. Motion by Mr. Maldonia, seconded by Mr. Del Giorno for the approval of the appointments is submitted at your desk. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no.
Chairman,
The appointments are approved. Mr. Maldonia.
I'd like to vote abstain on the board review vote, please.
So
The
recorded.
record will reflect your abstaining on the one appointment. Public comment. We have I think 13 people who signed up to speak, but I think one maybe has withdrawn. Taking our public people, our people who've signed up for public comment in the order in which they signed up. The first person who signed up to speak is Alex Payne.
Okay, sorry.
Proceed.
Give me a sec. Okay, hello. I'm Alex. I'm currently a 16-year-old going to be a senior in high school. And before I start my speech, I would just like all of you to raise your hand if any of you have kids of any type. Please, raise your hands if you have kids.
I'm sorry, our rules don't allow you to ask questions to the board members. Just go ahead and speak. Go ahead
Okay.
and say what you want to speak.
So, since the Internet Watch Foundation first started monitoring AI in 2023, we've seen a frightening advance in the ability to generate child sexual abuse imagery artificially. In 2025, 8,029 AI-generated images and videos were assessed by the IFW as showing realistic child sexual abuse. Realistic full-motion AI video content is now commonplace. 65% of videos, 2,233 to be exact, identified by the IWF last year were classified as Category A, the most extreme classification when coming to child sexual abuse material. I know that AI has been spoken a lot and is a very hot topic when it comes to the environmental costs, but we also have to think about protecting the future of our children. AI proposes a serious risk to not only the mental health, but also just the overall internet safety of children. Governments around the world are scrambling to develop safeguards as the use of generative AI grows more common, including to spread misinformation and non-consensual images. Lawmakers and victim advocacy groups have for years surrounded the alarm with the rise of revenge pornography and expressed concern that AI is making such exploitation easier and more widespread. The rapid development of AI has brought an equally rapid development of threats, Hansback said. Anybody with a smartphone could create a deepfake pornography video or photo using a screenshot from someone's social media or dating profile. Furthermore, AI is increasingly being used to automate decision-making, example, school administrations, medical diagnosis, and automated grading that can have long-lasting consequences for youth. Families around the world have been impacted. Earlier, a young Ukrainian woman with poor mental health received suicide advice from ChatGPT, as well as another American teenager who killed herself after an AI chatbot role-played sexual acts with her. In the example of a 13-year-old autistic boy who was bullied into being homeschooled, he went onto the chatbot, and the chatbot finally encouraged the boy to run away and seemed to suggest suicide, for example, quoting, "I'll be even happier when we get to meet in the afterlife. Maybe when that time comes, we can finally be able to stay together." AI poses such a significant risk to the young community, and online especially. It becomes such a dangerous thing when you are online, or maybe you're being bullied in school, and one day your kid comes home from school crying, saying that these boys in her grade made up fake nude images of her and spread them around. AI increasingly spreads those and not only risks the mental health of them, but other people around them. AI cannot be trusted if it is giving advice to younger children on how to run away or to hurt someone or to hurt themselves. That is just proving that AI does not have enough safeguards, and we cannot approve a data center when not only it harms the community around it, but it harms the children who are growing up in this community. We will not have a further community if the children in here are hurt and cannot continue. Thank you.
Sorry, the next person who signed up to speak is Justin King. Justin King, not here this evening. Okay, the next person who signed up to speak is Kathleen Campbell. I think I saw her.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Campbell from Glen Arm, Illinois. I'm here to ask you to be supportive of reviewing and revising Sangamon County ordinances for data centers and give us adequate time to get them right. We all know that Governor Pritzker and legislators are now taking a closer look at data center risks, and thus far as it appears that they are not writing noise standards. I have carefully reviewed the EPA Noise Pollution Control Board documents, and nothing I am suggesting tonight exceeds those guidances, other than suggesting testing schedules and reporting on which those documents are silent. The reason we need Sangamon County to have noise control ordinances for data centers is exemplified by Cyrus One's submission to Sangamon County. The documents submitted by Cyrus One to date provide no assurance that it will be compliant with the noise guidelines of the Noise Pollution Control Board, nor do they understand the complexity or extent of the measures required. Cyrus One stated that it had extracted their noise measurements from the Illinois Pollution Control Guidelines. What they failed to mention is that Cyrus One extracted only a small subset of those noise pollution regulations from the Illinois Pollution Control Guidelines, and that it did not reference the octave band dB scale mandated by the definition section of those guidelines to ensure that the octave band measures would be properly reported in SPL using no weighting, i.e. a dBz scale. The Pollution Control Board specifies those requirements in the definitions section of the document. Further, Cyrus One did not provide any schedule for baseline testing or for periodic noise testing or reporting to the zoning board to ensure ongoing compliance. A complaint-driven system will not ensure compliance and would be burdensome to landowners when they seek testing and enforcement. Further, a system needs to be established so that landowners or impacted businesses can request testing at the company's expense as needed. Cyrus One only plans on testing a subset of 9 out of the 29 preferred frequencies listed in the Pollution Control Board guidelines. Further, Cyrus One did not commit to testing at discrete frequencies as included in the Pollution Control Board guidelines. Discrete frequency testing is critical for data center reporting because people in proximity to data centers have reported total quality sounds interfering with their enjoyment of life and thus prohibited by the state guidelines. Discrete frequency testing is conducted in 1/3 octave measures, which Cyrus One never mentions or indicates that it has the expertise and equipment to measure. Further, Cyrus One talks about testing and use of their backup generators, but we must make it clear to them that the Noise Pollution Control Board limits apply even then, and there's no exemption for those activities, nor should they. If the generator's noise output exceeds the state guidelines, they cannot be used. So I have suggested a schedule of testing in here, and I have 37 seconds left, but I am going to close now to time limits. But I provide the following written documents, and I provide citations directly from the Noise Pollution Control Board requirements for noise control in the state of Illinois, but all of them, not the ones that Cyrus One did not include. So I will close now, and thank you for your consideration. Just give us some time to get it right. Thank you.
I'm sorry. The next person who signed up to speak is George Hinton, but I think he spoke earlier. Yeah. So the next person who signed up to speak is Kendra Barlow Johnson. Kendra Barlow Johnson. Not here this evening. Okay. The next person who signed up to speak is Erica Stelavan.
Hi everyone, my name is T. Erica Stellovan, and I'm just a regular human being out here trying to make it. I came here tonight to read this essay I wrote called I Can't Hear You Over the Sound of Being Free. I learned all my lessons the hard way, so on April 19th, what could have been a verbal warning led to me receiving a citation for my plate light being out, finding out about a warrant, and my first time going to jail. I actually went to 2 different jails in 1 week. From April 19th through 22nd, I stayed in Sangamon County Jail waiting for Logan County to come get me in regards to a warrant for a traffic violation from 2020. I remember the whole time on the way there thinking, I cannot believe this is happening to me. I'm really going to jail? I've spent my whole life trying to avoid this exact moment, trying to break cycles to avoid the kind of situations that lead people into the system. So I was in shock, and I went through every emotion. But all of those feelings quickly disappeared when I was placed in a cell that felt like it was made for like 2 or 3 people, but it was 6 women inside, so I was the 7th. 3 women were sleeping on the floor. One was an elderly disabled woman. The air in the facility was broken. So the only airflow that was coming in was from a fan that was sitting outside the door, blowing through the chuck hole. The tension was already high, and for hours and for some of us days of being in these conditions, multiple arguments occurred. One instance in particular's deputy heard the commotion and immediately rushed over, threatening to send tasers into the cell. The consequences of yelling out the door at the officers were them closing the chuck hole and removing the fan. So I kept that in the back of my mind the whole time. But I couldn't be quiet any longer. So I got into an argument with the deputies, questioning why they would threaten to send tasers in the cell when 5 of us weren't even doing anything. One of the women that were arguing was laying down. I could go on and on, but I have to leave y'all with this. There was a girl in there that everybody knew something was seriously wrong with. On top of that, she had been unmedicated for 4 whole days. When the sheriff came to get her for her transfer, she was immediately triggered. And in the middle of her completely spazzing out, a sheriff yelled out, "Sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of being free," as he was escorting her out in a wheelchair. And that image will live with me forever. I witnessed treatment that I can only describe as cruel. Human beings sleeping on the floor on 1-inch thick mats. Physically and mentally disabled citizens going days without much needed medication, days without seeing a nurse, and people struggling with addiction being referred to by derogatory slurs. I'm no stranger to the injustices of jail and the prison system in our country, and I promise you this is not even the half. But being in that cell, I felt so powerless, watching some of our most vulnerable citizens being treated like they are nothing. And it's something I will never forget, and I will never be the same after going to jail. Don't get me wrong, criminal behavior should have consequences. Accountability matters, but basic human dignity should not disappear the moment someone enters a cell. The people our law enforcement officers come in contact with the most are often people battling mental illness, addiction, homelessness, or simply difficult circumstances. And what if that was someone that you love? What if you knew the story and the trauma behind that emotion?
That's time. Thank you. All right, the next person who signed up to speak is Jill Cripple. Jill Cripple? Not here this evening? Okay, the next person who signed up to speak is Sante Massey. I see he's here.
Chairman? Could
Mr.
I ask one quick question of staff?
Sure.
Prior to?
Sure.
Regarding the last statement. And this is something that we can follow up later on if needed. But what is the process for identifying an individual's medication needs upon intake to the jail?
Well, the first step is the person has to be willing to provide you information and talk. And in reference to Ms. Sullivan, I'm not sure, I haven't had an opportunity to speak with her, and she hasn't made a complaint directly to the jail. I don't show someone by the name that she has given to sign up as ever being booked in our jail. So I'm assuming perhaps she had a different name at that time. So it was a little more difficult for me to research this information. I think that we may have found the date in question. There was a person in the cell at that time that was refusing to provide any information to staff, including basic name, medicine, etc. So there was a delay until they could find the correct information for that person. And then that person refused medication after that fact. So we can't force medication to any inmate currently. If it's the same situation that we're talking about, but again, I have to have a complaint with the right information to be able to totally research it. So, but there's an intake form and a classification form, and that's how the information is received on what medication that someone being booked in should get.
Okay, so there is a process.
Yes, sir.
Essentially, okay. So I know some medications, certain antidepressants, and just various meds. You know, an individual going 24 hours, let alone several days. I mean, I believe it can be extremely detrimental to their health. So I might follow up with you later off the record here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you for addressing it.
Sure.
Okay, proceeding in the regular order. Sante Messi.
Good evening, esteemed board members and Chair Van Meter. I'm becoming more accustomed to speaking in front of crowds, classrooms, boards, and levels of government now. I've had to remedy my fear of public speaking because I had to become the voice of my cousin, Sonia Linnea Wilburn Massey. Her voice was extinguished on July 6th of 2024, and in approximately 27 days from now will mark 2 years since she was silenced in brutal fashion by a former employee of this very building. To this day, it is still difficult to come here, but it is necessary, and it is what she would want me to do. Believe it or not, speaking out for her came relatively easy for me because everyone that knows me can attest. I am extremely passionate about my family, about protecting my family's legacy, about ensuring that this city, this county, this country knows the sacrifices that the Massey family have made to protect our moral and righteous standards after dealing with corruption of the highest order against Malachi and Summer's mother, Donna's daughter, Ramona, Renee, Raymond, Rita, Sandra, Wanda, Tammy, and Donald's niece, our sister, our cousin, and Springfield's resident. There are absolutely disgusting and dishonest whispers of Sonia's character, her life, and her death. Character assassination that we will deal with about Sonia continues to this day. Living with shattered souls is now our norm and extremely difficult. But we are a resilient family, and we have to do, all we have is a few simple asks. I will sit here by my family today, and they wanted me to mention the Massey Commission was created by two people that we hold a near and dear place in our hearts now and forever, and that's State Senator Doris Turner and Chair Andy Van Meter. And we are eternally grateful. But it is sustained by the people of Springfield. And the people still want answers. The people want to know what has changed since Sonia's senseless murder. And sadly, most say not enough. It feels like Sonia's name
is disappearing behind the politics of the very things that her death facilitated. Her name needs to be in the front of these conversations, not an afterthought. She has a state law and a bridge named after her, which is ironic because the bridge to renew Springfield's trust and rapport between its citizens and its elected officials was supposed to be the result of her untimely death. I'm humbly asking you all to remember. We are all asking you to remember. Remember why the Massey Commission was created and why it is important to say and keep saying Sonia's name now, to put her name on things, to remind us. Remembering the passion of change that you felt and still feel by creating the 708 Mental Health Board that her demise fueled. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person who signed up in order is Ken Pesha.
Hey everybody, I haven't seen you guys in a while since I got thrown out of the data center here. It's a shame that happened. I've spoken with Paul about it. We've worked it out. But I gotta say, there's been a few things I've been disappointed about. I'm sure many of you saw the recent comments by former Judge Narduli on the Mental Health Board. Sante just spoke about all of the things that led up to that Mental Health Board and the creation of that led to the impetus to try and change mental health issues around this county and how law enforcement or other agencies respond to it. So imagine my troubled feeling when I saw that the chairman of that new board stated that he felt that rural and Black children within the East Side and the Springfield community had the same exact problems with similar solutions. You know, I'm not going to discount the problems that rural America has with addiction, with mental illness, with trying to overcome toxic masculinity to even seek help. But I'll be perfectly frank, that board was not impetus or built off the backs of rural folks who were having issues. It was brought to the forefront. It was pushed hard to where it is now. You guys put a lot of work into creating the commission and the board itself based off of what? The murder of Sonia Massey. And why was that? Do we agree that there was a level of systemic racism that played into Grayson's decision-making that led us to those kind of outcomes, possibly even generational outcomes? So why would we not respond in some fashion to the so-called chairman of that board, almost infantilizing the issues that the communities face that we've specifically talked about here? That the DOJ asked you guys to focus more on in terms of redoing the department, changing over the jail and things like that. So it's just very troubling to me because it seems like that we appointed a lot of people who had institutional experience of being in charge. Because here's the thing, the testimonial that you just heard came from somebody who sat in your jail. Now, while I had a great meeting with Sheriff Crouch and her command staff and the NAACP, they were very forthcoming, very helpful. They took their time to talk to us. That doesn't change the outcomes for the people that sit in that jail. Some of you may know I've been to that jail, not in a long while, but it was a pretty good amount of stays. And I'll tell you, even 20 years ago, that experience is echoed. It shouldn't be 20 years later the same. That's part of the issue, is that we have all of this talk, we have these boards, we have these commissions, we have these meetings, and the outcomes stay the same for the people that are unfortunate enough to fall into that system. That was a traffic warrant, by the way. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about crime, but I don't feel that traffic warrants are on the equivalent level of, like, say, you know, large-scale theft or assault or arson or real crimes. Maybe you didn't pay a ticket on time. Maybe you missed a court date. 6 days locked in a cell with 7 other people should not be your punishment. And if you think that it is, go spend a couple days in there. I mean it. When's the last time any of you have ever been to jail? Because we can talk about these things. We can read all the reports, But until you've actually experienced those kind of outcomes, until you've been on the other side of the police that may kill you or the prison that may lock you away with 7 other people for days on end in unbearable heat, it's all theoretical. So I really encourage you and other people like on the mental health board and the county board and the jail committee to really consider what you're talking about. Because when we think about numbers and statistics and all these different outcomes, we're still talking about real people that are suffering and dealing with those outcomes while we slowly work our way to finding out the truth. Thank you.
The next person who signed up to speak is Jordan Shaw. Jordan Shaw.
Good evening. Is it on? Okay. So I said I'd be back, and I'm back. A little tangent. I do not like that quote at all. Saying that the rural young men also are the same and also need to be looked at because Sean Grayson was a rural man. He lived in Dare. He went to North Mac. I should know. I went to Verdon before I consolidated. So let's not combine the murder of Sonia Massey and the murder of Sean Grayson with, oh, we need to figure out what's wrong with both sides of the art. No, let's not do that. Let's not. That's cruel and that's inhumane, especially to Sonia's legacy. So, having said all that, I would like to talk about, again, data centers, which the 17 of you, again, made a very big mistake. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to talk to Mayor George Murphy of Verdon, but I was able to have an unofficial talk with him. And did you know he owns land around the land that was bought, or is wanting to be bought by Cyrus One? Did y'all know that? I didn't know that. So, funny how Verdon keeps getting the short end of the stick when it seems like more and more they're going to get a lot of the problems that this data center is going to have to deal with. And the more people that I talk to and commiserate with, because we're all just furious about this sort of thing, most people do feel defeatist, but more of that, well, there's nothing I can do, so might as well, grab the bottle of vodka and get myself a little thing and just go at it, because they're mad. They're very mad. And I understand, because they've been lied to. And the history again, tangent, I apologize. The history of Verdon, as big a union town, is they've been told by the bigwigs, hey, we're on your side. We're union. But you know who you should be looking out for? Not us. You should be looking at people over there trying to take away your jobs. Don't want that. So look, just trust us. We got the money. We got the building. We have the jobs that we can give you. Just trust us. And then what happens? You got 7 dead miners in 1898. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I am saying that there's going to be a lot of issues, not only in environmental, but social, health. We have so many reports and things that are coming in. Even this past week, we have been getting reports of more and more messed up things that are going to be happening with AI and data centers. And y'all 17 just wanted to push the vote because that money looked really good. And I do feel for those who voted no, who tried so hard to vote for their conscience and for the people that they represent. I do feel for you. But, man, it's going to be an interesting next few years. And I hope you're ready for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next person who signed up to speak is Salem King.
So in 2 months, we went from 17
Mr.
to
King,
10.
I think you might want to move the microphone up, the whole podium there, and we'll start your time over. So you get the microphone closer to your mouth, yeah. Then people can hear you better.
Better now?
I think so.
Okay.
We'll start your time over.
Okay, sounds good. So, yeah, I'll start on a little bit more positive note than I usually do. In 2 months, we went from 17 to 10 to 8 to 15. Kind of same situation. Corporate douchebag comes in making big promises we all know he's not going to fulfill. The people that are actually going to be affected come up and say they're opposed to it. At tonight's meeting, and I'm to understand plenty more before tonight. And this time, do I actually side with the people who are going to be affected? I'm going to choose to interpret that as progress. I'll also, again, because I said I would be here, don't have much to talk about tonight, but like I said I would be here, so I'm here. And I want to talk a little bit about experiences that I've had talking to people here in Springfield about the data center as we continue our canvassing efforts. We recently did a pretty major canvassing effort in Chatham, as well as at the Old Capitol Farmers Market very recently. And this canvassing experience was unlike anything I have ever had before while canvassing, because when I would come up to people and ask, have you heard about the data center? The majority of them actually stopped to talk to me. I know most of y'all probably sent out canvassers before, and I am sure you know how often they just get ignored. Somebody walks past. People have tried to canvass to me in public before, and I just walk past because I've got things to do. The majority of the people at the farmers market actually stopped to talk to us. Every one of the canvassing teams we sent out reported back that was happening for them. Again, I'm going to choose to interpret tonight's 8 to 15 vote as progress. And I'm going to ask that you maintain that progress if the building permit ever comes up for a vote. Moving on to my second topic, that I didn't expect to be as salient as it's going to be tonight, the Massey Commission calls to action. I do appreciate this board creating the Massey Commission when you did, but a phrase that comes up a lot as I work in politics is, if you can't walk the walk, don't bother opening your mouth. If you are not going to implement the calls to action that the Massey Commission recommended, then your vote to approve creating the Massey Commission isn't worth a damn thing. I am aware this change takes time. We're going to work on that. My organization is working on that. Plenty of other organizations are working on it. But again, building foundations for the future. The calls to action need to happen. All of them. Otherwise, you didn't believe in the Massey Commission to begin with. So let's get to work on it. Deny the building permit. Have a great rest of your evenings.
Okay. The next person who signed up to speak is Gary Schultz. Gary Schultz.
All right. Thumbs down, eyes up. My name is Gary Schultz. I live 1.5 miles from where this hyperscale AI data hub, not data center, because people are getting the wrong impression of it, well, have got the wrong impression of it, is wanting to build this Lego block prefab buildings. I listen to 93.9 in the mornings. In the past weeks, members of the SSGA have been on there talking up the data hub like it only uses 1,100 gallons of water a day. Remember that. And saying we already have data centers like the ones at the hospital. Well, that's no comparison to the hyperscale data hub. Last Tuesday, I went to the Waverly Town meeting. I asked if they had any word from Cyrus One about the dredging of the lake. And all they could do was throw their arms up. After the April 7th vote, Waverly Mayor was informed not before Cyrus One was paying for the dredging of the lake. After many repeated calls to Brad Hout, he finally spoke to him, telling him he would need paperwork for this. Brad said he would have it sent. When the mayor was called back, Cyrus One reps told him his lawyer said to sign nothing. But Cyrus One reps did tell him they would use a maximum of 15,000 gallons a day, a far cry from 1,100 gallons a day. And then when they were up and running, they would flush different parts of the loop system monthly. Fact check me, please. Apple Creek, we already get 3 million gallons is what we get. And we already use 2.3 to 2.6. That's more than the town of Waverly, who we get our water from. With fictitious numbers, they're going to run us over, which will end up meaning water restrictions for us. Just a little information about the data centers. Did you know that these loop systems, when they're first flushed, they use nitric and hydrofluoric acids to clean them? It cleans the welds out, the slag, and the oils. They call it pickling. And they dump this crap out. They don't, when it gets emptied out, it's going to run right into the waterways. These size buildings they have will use approximately 500 gallons per system. If it's a rainy day, it's going to run right to Lake Springfield. That's what all the runoff out there does. They might say they'll haul it off, but they're not going to because it's free to dump it on the ground. That's what's going to happen. If I was a yes voter and I actually used information given by them to make my decision, I would be angry when I find out true facts. I know I get angry when I make a decision from lies and not being told information that I should be. Why would we not have studies done about property values and living next to solar fields and data centers? That question was brought up. Why would we not? It's a way to be prepared. Thank you for your time.
The last person who signed up to speak is Kathy Bettis. Kathy Bettis? Not here this evening? Okay, that concludes.
Mr. Chairman, I actually, over here, hi.
Mr. Guyton.
If we have time, I'd like to ask a couple of questions of the Sheriff's Office, particularly about this event that just happened. So I know that right now we're currently undergoing some remodeling efforts with the jails. We have a couple of fixtures and other things that are being replaced. My question is about the capacity. What is the capacity of the jails that we can intake? I know there's the intake and the booking and all of that beforehand, and then people get placed in jails, but what is the capacity of the intake jails usually, or the rooms, I should say?
Are you talking the cells themselves or the jail as an?
Well, the cells themselves, yes. Like, what is the body count that we have in those?
So there's different cells that are different sizes. So I can't give you an exact number. I will tell you down in booking where the question is, it is not unusual to have 6, 7, 8 people in a cell. It is also not unusual for people to be sleeping on cots. Over the weekend especially, right? Because they don't go to court the next day.
Right.
So they stay until they see court. We don't process them and put them through classification, a complete classification to go up to one of the other levels into a permanent dorm or cell or section unless we know if they're staying.
Okay.
Because of the quick turnaround on there. So that's why booking oftentimes, you will have more people. If we have high-risk inmates that come in or high-risk subjects that come in that requires us to keep them down in booking, because more of our staff is down there because they need to be watched more, then we may move people out of that cell so that person could be in a cell by themselves because of the extra attention that they might need for staff. So there's all kinds of different circumstances. It is unusual to keep someone there for multiple days. In this particular case, my understanding is she was in on a warrant from another county, so she was waiting to be picked up by that county, which is why she was there for so long on that warrant.
Gotcha.
If that helps a little bit. But.
It does. I guess, do you happen to know of what the body capacity is for booking, though? That's what I'm kind of wondering about as far as like the intake process. Yeah, we can stop there for now.
Okay, so our jail itself, with the right staffing and everything, could hold 380 people. Down in booking itself, I don't have the exact numbers if we have the optimal number in each cell for you. I don't have those numbers. I wasn't prepared to give you that tonight.
Okay. And we can talk about this further. I just
Sure.
For the record. But yeah, I am very interested in the capacity of the booking and on average how long it takes. I understand the circumstances that led up to this situation. But I also do wonder if there is a way to, if not make it easier the way around. Imagine that, making jail easy. But at least finding a way to make sure that instances like what happened don't get experienced often or frequently. Not saying that they are, but I think that one time is enough to raise enough of an alarm that we should look at the entire process.
Right, so when someone comes in, they're not going to be moved out of booking until they see a judge.
Okay.
So they will stay in that main booking area until they see a judge. And yes, there's a lot that has to go. We have to physically escort them to the court from the jail. There's a lot to do with property classification, then there is a lot more that goes into the whole booking process and classification. We have to make sure we get them housed, where they need to be housed with people that they're not going to have more trouble with, that there's not rivals getting put in cells with each other. So there is. I will tell you that we just had a study done. We had a expert come in that totally redid our classification tool or process.
Okay.
I just actually got an email today. I think we have one more step of that, but we have started the training and using that classification tool now. That doesn't address crowding issues necessarily in booking, because at the end of the day, we're not going to move them up to permanent housing in the jail until we know if the judge is going to keep them or release them. And as we know with the Safety Act, the majority are getting released. So it's just a revolving door really in booking generally.
Understood. Okay. I'd love to look at that study if that's something that could be provided, and we can take a look at that, and maybe even keep in mind the Massey call to actions while we look at these processes as well.
Okay.
Just because I think that there's always room for improvement. Not saying that we don't have an excellent process as it is. I know that we're still working on some things, but generally our staff they're professional, they try their best, but this incident alarmed me enough to where I just had to raise a few questions.
Sure.
So.
And I just want to clarify, the study that I'm referring to was, it's Dr. Patricia Hardiman is who came to our facility, but we gave her basically the documents and our procedures on classification. She reviewed them. She came and visited our jail to see what our setup, what our housing arrangements were, and then recreated or tailor created a classification and this tool for us to use for placement. So the study isn't like a 20-page document, if you will, but it's the review of old procedures and forms and creation of new, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Lathan.
Yes, Sheriff, when you share the information in regard to the study, if you could also provide, if you could also provide information in regard to the number of booking sales that you have. And within those booking sales, what's the capacity per sale based on gender?
I'm going to write some notes here. I got it.
I have the unusual opportunity. I worked at the county jail for 60 months. I was a correctional officer. I was the first officer to start the classification system. I wrote the policy and procedures on those. I'm glad to see they're updating. When we first started working at the jail, we were housing inmates according to where there was an empty bunk space, bed space. We were housing people with traffic charges, with violent charges. We started a classification system on a point scale based on violent history, violent charge, gang-related, non-gang related, whatever, right? And I'm really glad to see it going. And here we are 34 years later, and we're still talking about classification in a positive way. And one of the biggest honors I've had being involved with Sangamon County is how many counties have come to Sangamon County and have used our classification system in their programs, in their jails. So anyway, and it's really nice to hear you talk about it here tonight, Sheriff. Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the board?
Chair.
Sheriff?
I'm sorry. I would just like to recognize Mrs. James is here tonight. We had our court security officers. She was our kind lady that our court security officers were able to assist, and she did make it in tonight. So we just want to acknowledge that she is here and made it in to see us tonight. So thank you for making it here tonight, Mrs. James.
Okay, proceeding in the regular order, reports of county officials, reports of special committees, reports of standing committees. Motion by Mr. Del Giorno, seconded by Mr. Madoni to place reports on file with the clerk. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The reports are placed on file with the clerk. Motion by Mr. Madoni, seconded by Mr. Del Giorno that we do stand in recess until the regularly scheduled July meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. We stand in recess. Social chairman, is there a